User Group Columbus. We are from Columbus and we have been presenting our Sitecore user group globally with people joining across the US, across the Europe, Asia as well. Today, in similar session, we have 8 times Sitecore MVP Amit Kumar. Amit Kumar is going to present a session on from AI suggestions to secure execution. And that will be how does the MCP and Sitecore Marketer MCP power the agentic AI in the enterprise. This is going to be a good session. I'm looking forward to that. Over to you, Amit.
Hey, thanks Maulik and Himadri for the opportunity and the introduction. So, in today's session, I will be explaining about a from AI suggestion to the secure execution. So here I will be covering some of the topic which will be interesting for you. So agenda is why this matter now and what is the enterprise gap. And I will be also covering the some of the AI concept which you are using in your day-to-day work. And I will be also touching upon the MCP fundamentals, Sitecore Marketer MCP, and how we can extend the MCP and create our own. And also some information about the responsible AI in practice, how we need to use the AI in our day-to-day work, and then we can have a Q&A. So this is a small intro about myself. Myself, Amit Kumar, and currently I'm working as a solution architect with Avnar UK. And I mostly work in the Microsoft tech stack. And you can reach out to me with any of the social media handle, and you can scan also the QR code and connect with me. So now moving towards the session. So the first section is why this matter now and the enterprise gap. So have you seen that everyone nowadays is using the AI, right? AI is everywhere. And in those cases, Gen AI and the co-pilots are the mainstream, right? And people are using extensively to do all the, you can say that the work like summarizing the work or creating the draft images, getting insight, and most of the things people are doing that, right? But when it comes to the actual implementation or the enterprise system where things are interconnected, so those things cannot be taken care by the Gen AI and the co-pilot, right? So the real challenge is that the turning AI output into the complete workflow, right? Where the your agent also can access the downstream system like a CMS, CRM, right, or any workflow that is currently missing, right? So that's why there is a need arises which will provide you the set of a standard execution process which are safe. You can say that in terms of the authenticated authorizations, and there will not be a point-to-point integration. Like for any integration, you need to set up your own integration point for the agent, and you need to give the instructions to do that, which should be self-explanatory, right? So that the AI can know what to do, right? But currently, AI only can, with if you are using the GenAI and Copilot, you can only do the drafting and those things, but they cannot go inside your system and perform the work which are authenticated or the authorized one. That can not be do. That's why the most of the organization currently looking for a, you can say that the standard procedures which are safe and nobody will be having a unauthorized access to check their system, right? So that's why there is a need for a standard procedures currently. So that's why it's a brain without hands problem. It means that you can use the LLM, large language model can be used to write a blog post, but it cannot go and create a post inside your CMS system. They can't do that because they can suggest what you are telling in the human language. They can give you the text or anything. If you will say to them to create the text, go to the page, create a page template, page based on that page template, or insert into a specific location, or insert into a CRM system. They can't do that because they are not having any tools to do that, right? It means to perform those tasks, they need, say, something like hands or someone who can do those of the tasks, right? So that is the main things. So that's why the these execution gaps comes into the picture to perform a set of the tasks which can perform the end-to-end things. So that's why the role of a agentic AI and the MCP comes into the picture, right? So both will be providing the hands to your Gen AI, or you can say that the co-pilot, to perform the operation which is required by the specific user. So I will be covering a more these how these gaps or a hands will be comes into the picture, and what are the components who are fulfilling these tasks, that I will be covering in the upcoming slides. Okay, let me. So there are these things I forgot to explain. Like if you are seeing here that AI or LLM can give you the ideas, then some human will comes into the picture who will do the manual tasks like updating that content in the CMS or those things. But there is nothing is available which can fulfill this execution gaps. That's why the agentic AI and MCP comes into the picture, who can do the autonomous task, or you can say that the whatever the idea suggested by the LLM or any of the Gen AI Copilot, they can straight away and execute those things within a enterprise systems. So now coming to the AI concepts. So like everyone is working on the AI fields, right? AI landscapes, and they are keep listening about a Gen AI, Copilot, AI agents, and agentic AI. So I thought that I will be touching these things so that people will refresh their knowledge about these things. So generative AI, like Gen AI, so that is a brain, right? Why? Because generative AI models like such as GPT-4 or a Claude A are the core intelligent layer, or you can say that the underlying engine, right? They are proficient or a good in producing the new content, text, code, summaries, and ideas based on the prompts which user are giving them. So it means their strength is the content creation, summarization, and the ideation. They can give you the ideas. Limitation uh, is that they are not having the execution capability, and they are not even having the access to the tools or systems to whom they can go and perform action, right? And no planning beyond a single response. So suppose if you are telling, give me the details or summarize this document, they will just give it summary of those things. So they can't go beyond that in a one shot, right? Like you are using a chat GPT to draft any of the product landing page or anything. Those are the example. Copilot is the assistant. It means that Copilot embed the Gen AI directly into the tools like a VS Code, or you are using the Claude, right, or Cursor, right? So they generally observe the user context, and they will provide the suggestion in real time. So suppose if you are working with the GitHub Copilot or anything, and you are, or you can say that the Office 365 Copilot itself, right? So suppose if you are did the one work, so it will store the those things in the memory, so that when the next time you are returning back, they will be having a context. And if they are having the context, then they are saving the tokens for you. Otherwise, whenever you will, they will perform the task every time from the scratch, then your token will be, you can say that you will be using the more tokens from your side. So they are having, their strength is that they are having the in context recommendation. They can do the code completion, productivity boost, and they are providing the excellent user experience. So I will be showing in the real time how, what is the meaning of excellent user experience, that I will showcase. So limitations is that they are not autonomous, right? So limited to the host application where you are hosting them, and also they can't orchestrate the workflow, right, across the system to access the different system by themselves, right? So example is a GitHub Copilot, which can recommend the code snippet unless and until you are not enabling the some of the tools in the Visual Studio Code, right? They can't go and update the things, because GitHub Copilot just can suggest that unless until you are not checking the tools which is required by the GitHub Copilot to update, they can't do anything. AI agent, you can think of a specialist, right? So AI agents wraps the Gen AI within a with a specific goals and a set of tools, and within that boundary, they can execute the predefined tasks like fetching the data from a some system, or finding the some itinerary or some locations, or even you are having a website, so they can find the broken links also, right? If you tell that, okay, these are the set of things and filter something based on these criteria, so they can do that simple operations, right? So their strength is that they can execute the task API based automation, they can do that, and they are having a goal oriented behavior. So why the I said the API based automation. Suppose if you are creating the any AI agent, so suppose if you will mention that, okay, go to this website or this API, this is the payload, you need to use that, and this is the my key, authentication key, or any authenticated or authorization headers you need to pass. If you will say that, they will be independently able to perform those tasks. But you need to define those things into your AI agent, right? So their limitation is that they are dependent on the available integration, because if you will say that go this site and do the operation, and you will provide your all the payload and required things, then only they can do that. And often they are relying on the custom, or you can say that the fragile AI API wrappers which you need to share with them, and they can do the limited planning, right? Unless and until it is combined with the agentic AI. So example is that if you are creating an agent to retrieve the flight data from an API, right? So that is a one set of a AI agent which is performing a one set of operation. Agentic AI, you can say that the manager who can plans or orchestrate the multiple steps goals, right? And they are not following the script, right? So what they will do, they will break the goals into the steps, and then they will select the tools and they will perform the actions, and they will also retries on the failure. Suppose if you are doing some sort of a content update in the CMS, and you are having the tools for both the on-prem and the Sitecore AI. So if both the tools are discoverable by your agentic AI, then they will automatically suggest you, okay, can I use this or not, right? So those things, those type of things, they will try by themselves. So they will not stop at a one failure. They will retry it, and then they will come back to you. These things are not more working. Can I do this? So those type of manipulation will be autonomous with them, because they will divide the goals into the small chunks of the goals, and each individual, if you have orchestrated the agent, you can also define the individual sub agent also to perform some set of tasks, right? So example is, suppose if you are creating a planning to do some sort of a trip where you need to check the weather, compare flight and booking within a some set of a condition. So then your agentic AI can job the small or individual tasks like a checking weather, comparing flight, booking within a constant. So they will perform the individual steps, and one agent will most of the time will pass the output to the other agent so that it can perform the task. So for example, if you wanted to go to any of the geographic region, and you will say the checking weather also, then on the basis of a weather it can suggest you which are the hotels nearest to that location. Those things it can be doable. So this is the uh, quick view of the, you can say that the capability matrix, where I have tried to explain like a technologies, their primary roles, and what can they can do that or not, and which are enterprise safe, and what is best for they can use it. So Gen AI is best for the ideation, Copilot is for the productivity, and AI agent is for the automation, and agentic AI is for the complex goals. But agentic AI also can't do the is not interface sorry enterprise safe without the MCP. But in AI agent also, if you are having the some API endpoint where you are passing the, as I was explaining, the headers and those things, so that way it can be enterprise safe. So now moving to the MCP fundamentals. So in the initial slide, we discussed about uh, what's missing between AI and the enterprise system, right? So it's missing like a standard tool discovery is missing, permission and audit trails, and inputs are type safe or not. And it should be a standard way, right? A consistent execution gateway. Like first time it is performing the operation to go and fetch a data from a one place. So second time also it should go and for a specific task, it will get the data from that source. It's not like that it should go and fetch the data from a different system, right? So without this layer, you will be just creating a ad hoc integration points, right? So that's why this MCP comes into the picture and it will bridge the gap, right? You can say that it will create the path so that AI agent can perform the task which is autonomous, right? That way it is bridging the gap also and it is providing the hands to perform the end-to-end automation. So in simple words, so MCP is a model context protocol, right? And it provides a standard contract between your AI host from where you are accessing it and the tools server. It's infrastructure for a safe governed execution. So it's separate from the model intelligence. So it is not a AI agent and it's based on the open standard and it will also provide the tool discovery, right? And it will also provide the typed inputs, outputs, and permission scope. So in simple words, what I can say that it's based on the open standard. So you can create the MCP tool in any language and you can utilize that the MCP tool in any of the language itself. For example, if you're creating the MCP tool in the .NET, right? And if you are working on the Java or anything, so you can utilize over there. So you can create the agent which will call a one of the agent which is written in the Java, which can call other agent which is wrote in the .NET itself, and it's based on the open standard. And it is also provide the tool discovery plus invocation. So suppose if I will show you, so suppose they are the tools which you have created, like a simple example is Sitecore Marketer MCP tools, which is created by the Sitecore. So if you will utilize that, they will automatically expose what are the definitions of their method, what type of inputs they are expecting. Those things will be uh, discoverable by your AI agent so that AI agent can call them. And type schema means your agent will be knowing that which type of parameters needs to be passed or a payload needs to be passed so that your tools will not create the errors or issues while executing the task. Permission scope execution. So suppose if you have utilized your Sitecore Marketer MCP tools, so if you are not having the access to the Sitecore AI sandbox, you can't access because when you will be using the Sitecore AI tools, Marketer MCP tools, so you generally needs to log in into that and you need to provide the access to a specific project, then only it will be working. And auditability and the governance means that who we can access or not, that you will be passing via some OAuth or any other mechanism. Auditability means whichever system MCP server is connecting it, so they must be having a logging so that unauthorized access can be tracked. And again, I was telling MCP is not an AI model, it's a bridge which is providing the hands to perform the autonomous task, or you can say that the uh, complements the existing things which can be automated. So this diagram is showing that how the MCP is working in a real time. Suppose you are having the AI app or any hosting you have done it or a chatbot or anything like GitHub Copilot you are having or you are using the Copilot itself. So there you will be having the MCP client. So it's a simple words, it's a client server calls between the MCP client and the server. So when you will be adding the your client, let me show you. So suppose if you are using the this MCP Visual Studio Code and you are using the MCP Sitecore Marketer MCP. So you need to write these type of settings like a server, right? So it means that your this visual code will be serving as a client. It will call this server. So when you will start this MCP server, then it will ask you to log in it, right? So that way you are doing the uh, authentication and the authorization that you can access that specific MCP tool or not. So same way, if you are using the Figma MCP, there also you need to log in that which design system you need to use that, right? And you are having access to those or not. So that will be being called and that will be stored in the memory. And everything is based on the JSON remote procedure call. So it's a secure this, and also MCP client will be able to easily discover what are the MCP servers are present and what are the tools provided by them, and they will invoke the specific tools based on the what you have prompt. Like if you are having a tool to find a list of the product from your CRM system or any system, and you are having the tools and you have given the specific you can say that the decoration of your methods, right? So automatically it will be discoverable and your MCP client will call, and then call goes to the MCP server and they will do the internal tooling whichever is available. They will access the resources and the prompt will be passed and then the result will be reached out to you. So that way this MCP tools will work. So if we in the past in the previous slides I just talked about this agentic AI plus MCP is providing the hands to the AI system. So with this diagram I am trying to explain that those gaps how it's being fulfilling, like user is giving any goal like hey, I need to check the weather and provide me the itinerary and book the flight. So user goal is that the agentic AI will do the reasoning and the planning, and on the basis of that it will invoke the specific MCP tool, and MCP tool will validate your Excel and those things, and it will execute the specific methods. And internally your MCP tool will be anyhow connecting with your enterprise system like a CMS, API, DB or CRM, and those results will be returned back to your agentic AI, and then agentic AI can decide that what can be the next action based on the subtask or a subagent you have defined in your workflow. So it means agentic AI decide what to do next. MCP validates and execute based on your authentication and authorization, and it will return you the JSON or some sort of a structured way so that it can be manipulated by your, or you can say that the interpret by your uh, agents and in a human understandable format. So that way it will do the work. So, so we also need to know about the clear boundaries, why it makes a MCP as an enterprise friendly, right? So these are the things like does not make a decision, does not execute and provide audibility, right? Those type of things or the boundaries we should be aware about. So now coming to the Sitecore Marketer MCP, because here I will be showing what are the things are present in the Sitecore Marketer MCP and also how to create the custom marketer MCP tool. So Sitecore also provided the Sitecore Marketer MCP. Generally, it's for the all type of marketing task. You can say that, so that if you whatever the task your marketing team or the content authoring team are doing it manually, so they can automate. Suppose they need to create a 100 pages based on a one set of a product and they are having the product details in form of Excel, JSON or anything, or they have from the PIM, right? They are having that data in the JSON format. So someone or anyone don't need to write any batch job. You can pass or create a agent in your normal Visual Studio Code, right? VS Code with using the GitHub Copilot, and those JSON can be consumed and they can insert the task, right? So it's a MCP tool set is for the marketing workflow only, right? You can create the item, uh, you can create the item as well as you can do the site management, you can do the page management, content management, component management, asset management, even the personalization, some set of rules you can do that, and you can create the brief, like a create, you can create also refine also all the briefing based on the some of the pages that you need to pass. Those things also you can do that, right? So you and all the things can be doable in the normal human language itself. You do not need to write any sort of code to do that. And internally, uh, all these things is being done with the help of a, you can say that a Sitecore agent APIs. So what happened that Sitecore have built up with this marketer MCP on top of a Sitecore agent API. So suppose if you need to uh, create your own custom MCP tools, right, by utilizing a agent API or anything, so that also there you can also utilize the Sitecore agent API, right? So so if you are seeing this chain, right, so this chain shows how tools is being called by the agent, right? So MCP clients, like these clients can discover what are the, you can say that the tools are available, and marketer MCP internally will be mapping each and individual agent API endpoints, and it is performing the task on your Sitecore platform. Suppose whichever the Sitecore tenant you are giving the access, it will perform the task also on that, like create content, add a renting to the page, or publish a content. Those type of things you can do that, right? So these are the standard tools you can use that, and those are not the hard coded. So you can utilize these tools, your marketer MCP tools, into any of sort of your tenant or anything. So you do not need to write any code to utilize these things, right? So, and all the actions you are performing on your Sitecore instance, it will respect the Sitecore governance only, like a permission template. Uh, they can respect that, right? Within the, you can say that the I was keep telling with a proper governance, it will respect all those things, and it will provide the structured relays like ID, status, workflow state. Those things also you can do that, and also the all the response which are being written to the agent in a JSON format, and that can also be interpreted by your agent itself. So this way, this architecture shows how MCP as a bridge, right, doing all the work, and it is not bypassing the enterprise system level authentication, authorization, or a role-based access, and also all the system of records or the roles, right, all be uh, all being followed by all the MCP tools which you are going to use. So this is also a simple representation, like a before MCP, AI will just suggest you, right? And human will execute the task. But when the MCP comes into the picture, so AI will plans and MCP execute it safely, and it will always provide you the result. And the destination system is having all the audit who have performed the task, right? So those things are present in that. So now coming to the extendability, how you can extend the things in your Sitecore, or you how you can create your own, you can say that a custom MCP tools. So when you are working with the .NET, right? So most of you guys are working in the .NET, and you always wanted to explore a ways to write a code because you are more towards the Microsoft tech stack, right? So that way you can also create a custom MCP tool in the uh, C sharp itself, right? So there is a official MCP C sharp SDK is there, right? And with the help of that, you can create the custom MCP tool. So for that, what you need to do, you need to consume some of the nugget packages like a model context protocol. Let me show you. So when you need to work with this, so you need to work using the .NET Core, right? And you need to utilize these packages like a model context protocol, Microsoft extension hosting, and these are the packages you have to utilize that, so that you can say that your starting point you need to do that, and with the help of that you need to define a custom tool servers, right? And then you can create your own custom tools. So what happened that when you are working with these, so let me quickly show you also. So it, so you need to decorate your class with the custom MCP server tool types, right? That is the class you need to create that. So what is the meaning of you can say that this decoration which you are doing it. So it tells the SDK it's a tool container. So there will be a tools will be there. So if you are creating any tools, that tools you need to decorate with this MCP server tools. Within a tools, if you are creating a any individual method, right? So you need to define the with that the MCP server tools. So that way you are telling that uh, this is a method within a that tool type, and what is the description of that, right? So the one thing you need to be aware, so you need to give the description of all your tools in a human understandable format, how the user will query, like uh, check the weather of that country, right? So that is a one sort of a simple query people will be using into that in a Google or anything, right? So that way you need to define the description of your method so that it can be easily discoverable by your MCP client while sending the instruction to execute this. So that's why if you will see, I have created a simple method get child details. So what I am trying to do that I am trying to get the child of a items. So that way I have written that retrieve child item detail from Sitecore by specifying an item path or ID and languages. Because when you are working with the GraphQL query to get a data from a site core, you always need a your item ID, right, or a item path, and which language version you need to access those two things you required it. So that way you will be defining a simple things and how you will receive that. So in the previous slides, I was keep telling about a type safe, right? So, and the meaning of that, you are defining a parameters also for your method, how you are simply defining in a .NET any method body that you are doing that. So I have defined as a string path. So you know that you can access the item with the help of a item path as well as the GUID. So that's why I have mentioned the item path. I have gave the example also and the GUID also how many number of characters are present in that. That also I have given as a sample, right? And also the language code for the item. So EN for English, D for German. So I gave the instruction also like some people will be not knowing the this language code, so they can mention English, Dutch or anything. Then automatically the agent will be able to pass the specific language code to them also. And by default, I have set a value as EN because most of the site which we are working, it will be having a default language as English. So that's why I am passing as English. So same way they are the tool like it's a simple tool like a monkey service. So what it is doing that it is give you the list of the monkeys as well as it will give you the details of a specific monkey also. So in this what I am doing it I am accessing a one JSON file which is having a list of the monkeys. It is a JSON file, raw file. It will be accessing and it will be passing everything as a array to the your agent. And same way, if you are passing the name of any monkey, it will return that monkey detail also. And in terms of a site code, what I am simply doing it, I am having a my uh, API keys and I have created a one simple graphical query where I am just passing the language and the path and it will make a call to the site code AI and it will return the details of that. So the this simply that method will be returning all the data. So same way you can create any of the method which you or a custom tools or if you need to do any automation you can do that. So currently I am using the Cloud A to desktop to check that. So as I was telling that if I need to check that the tools which are available in the my setup, right? So I can simply say that uh, list of the tools, right? What it is. Sorry, I am pressing the list of tools. So as I was telling that the tools are discoverable, right? So I'm using the Figma tools also currently. I have added, and I am having my own MCP tools itself, right? So there I am having a get monkey, get selling, get child details, echo and reverse echo also, right? So these tools are present. So how? So you are seeing that MCP Sitecore AI, right? How this name is coming? Because currently I'm using a cloud day, so I have given the name like this MCP Sitecore AI. So it's taking that tool. So when you are working with any of the custom tool or solutioning, right? You don't need to deploy that into any of the environment or a SaaS. You can simply run from your local. So that is the main, you can say that the benefit of your MCP tool. So if you are having a team of a developer, you don't need to deploy anywhere. You are having a simply solution over there. And for a demo purpose, I am just using a direct API key, but you can use the environment variable here also in from your JSON file, and you can pass those to the you can access those environment variable how you used to do in your other .NET based implementation. You can access those environment variable and you can use those within your MCP tools also. So that way you are making the reusable code which are safe, because everyone needs to use their own credentials to access your Sitecore instance, or they are trying to access any third party API. Everything are governed because you will be using the environment variable, and if anyone is having access they can use that, otherwise not. So that way you don't need to deploy that. So if you are seeing the name here as the MCP Sitecore AI, so the same name is used by this and it is giving me the list of the this items, sorry, methods, right? So let's say I will use the simple echo. So we used to do in the when we will be learning the C++, it will run. So let me see. It was working. Just wait. So hello from C sharp, right? Hello world. So how what happened that echo tool, right? So simply I am just hello from C sharp and I am appending the message. So that way it's doing that. If I will say the reverse echo, so you can see that here it will give you the message body also, right? Same way you will see it's passing the parameter also. So you are seeing that it is automatically asking for a reverse echo also, right? So, so these things are intelligence is being done by the your agent itself, right? So suppose if I will say uh, list, give me list of the monkeys. So what it will do, it will go to that endpoints and it will give all the answer. So I was telling that your agents are providing the user experience. So this is the example. So if you will see the payload, so you are getting the response like this, right, in a JSON format, and and your agent is using the intelligence, and it will be rendering in a human understanding format. So let me find a get detail of this, right? So mandrill. So what it will do? Where is the mandrill? This. So now it is finding a method. So automatically it's able to find the which methods needs to be solved. So it's giving example that you are just telling get details. So you are not having any method which is you are having a method called a get child details, right? But the intelligence is that it automatically picked up the get monkeys, right? So now let me try with the Sitecore get child details. See, I set the message at get the child details, so automatically it able to discover my method which I have created like a this one. So here I already mentioned that specifying an item ID, path or a ID, right? So that's why it's giving me a path or a GUID option. So let me pick one of the method, or you can say that a ID. So now I am just giving this GUID only. So it should return the details of that. So automatically it went here and it uh, returned the item. So how what it did that? So in the request body, like a type safe, right? So it's passed the path and the language, and the response you are getting in a JSON format, which I am returning it like this from my service. So automatically I am returning it, and from my tool, it is being passed to the uh, agent. So agent automatically reading that, and it is presenting in a human understandable format. So same way, it is asking me also like a data, right? So let's see, one child item is there. Data. Let me check the home item. So now I am giving it this. So let's see what it will do. So I just pass the item path, and automatically uh, it's provided the this. So with this way you can easily create any of the method, and also you can utilize the agent API also, which is provided by the Sitecore to build up any of the uh, custom tools itself. So when you are working with the, you can say that the Visual Studio Code, so you don't need to give the complete path, or you can say that a path like which I gave. But what you can do that you can just provide the relative path also in the Visual Studio Code if you are using it in the MCP JSON, and you need to define that. If you will compare both the uh, things like how the things are present in Claude and this, so there the some differences are there if you are using any tools. So if you will see here, uh, here you need to give a command like a complete path. You need to give like a where your .NET exe is present. In Visual Studio Code, you just need to mention a .NET only. And argument are run project, and here you need to give the relative path, but here you need to give the complete path. So that way you can integrate both in the Visual Studio Code as well as in the Claude, and even you can do the debugging also, because when you are working with the .NET or anything, if you are writing a code and if you need to see that your code is working fine and the things are being reaching there properly or not, so you can do the debugging also just by selecting the .NET object from the debugging, and that way you can debug also. So that way I provided the idea how you can create the reusable tools in the .NET. So if you will see here like a simple diagram, right? Flow, Agentic AI or a Copilot host, it will calling the MCP client, and then your custom MCP server is being called an internal API and data source. So suppose here currently I am directly providing the keys or everything, right? But as I was telling that you can also have a some set of a authentication authorization mechanism also, where you can use a header and take the input from the user, and you can perform the that type of authentication and authorization also to make it more secure. So now coming to the last section is a responsible AI in practice. So what is responsible AI, right? So in simple word, responsible AI ensures that the AI system operates safely. There should be a transparently will be there, and it will be there in the control of a human, and there should be organizational control will be there. So safely means that it should not need to read the PI data and those things. Transparent means whatever you are doing that you will be having a proper evidence of that which data source you have utilized that. Under human controls, like one suggestion I will say, if you are working with the agents, so always you need to add some sort of a human in loop interaction in all of your AI agents, so that the people who is preparing or using the AI, they should be having a complete responsibility what they are doing that. Because when you will use the Copilot or anything, right? So you will see a disclaimer there. It's AI generated content. You have to review that. So same way, you always needs to take the responsibility, or a person who is executing that. So in a practice, right, starting point is that you always will start with the non-critical content like a blogs, campaign and pages. So use standard component and a template. So just for example, always create some sort of a template, and like it for a prompt or anything, so that you are having the evidence which prompt you have used to execute this, right? So those things you have to be prepared for yourself, or in terms of a reusability also, right? And always apply a human oversight, right? So that if any output is coming, it is correct or not. So for example, if you are telling your Sitecore Marketer MCP, go and create the page, right? To create a page or a component, right? So suppose one time you have created a page inside the home page, below the home page. So next time also, if you will say create the page, it will automatically go and create under the home page itself, because your AI agent, as I was explaining earlier, it is having a context of your past conversation. So it will perform the same task. So how you can add a human in leap? So when you are writing AI agent, so you don't need to always work with the prompt or anything. Suppose if you are creating a prompt also, you need to mention that when you are creating the page or anything, just ask for a location. So that way it will ask you or a prompt you where you need to create it, so that the people who is executing that task, they will be having a complete responsibility, or they shouldn't run the tool and they went for a coffee break or anything, right? So that's why you always needs to add a human in loop or human override oversight into that, and governs for a safe AI adoption. So you don't need to do the autonomous changes, right? Or in a high traffic pages or a data which is more important, so you should avoiding a automation on that, right? And you don't need to give the admin level permission, so that it will go and perform a different task into that. For example, sometimes if you will start utilizing it, marketer MCP, automatically it will, if it is a error, right, automatically it will go and create a new item sometimes with the same name itself, right? I have seen that. So in those cases, you also needs to give instruction that if is there any error, then always ask for the changes or not. So that way you can always avoid the issues when you are using these type of marketer MCP tool. So the principle of the responsible AI is that least privileges access, logging, monitoring, and the audit trails, and clear human accountability needs to be present. So now I have reached to the last, you can say that the slides of my session. So the key takeaways which I have tried to explain is that uh, what are the agentic AI plans, how the MCP executes safely, and how the marketer MCP is working in terms of a site code, and how you can create your own marketer MCP, and how you can use those into the Visual Studio Code as well as in the Cloud Desktop, and how you can extend those tools or create your own custom tools. So now, if you guys have any questions, and feel free to ask me if you have any questions.
That was a great presentation, Amit.
Thank you.
So I don't know, like based on your based on your understanding and what you presented,
Mm,
kind of what MCP does. Um, my personal opinion about MCP and the OA, and things are done at this time
mm,
is really is another way to interface with the system.
yes,
It's basically LLM based, but at the end you are mapping it to a function,
yes,
which is LLM understands which function should call based on the description,
yes,
and it provides information. Obviously, you can do once you have the data, you can do more,
mm,
as you showed.
yes.
Interesting thing is I was listening to Stripe and Stripe's CEO's discussion.
Mm,
Yes, they are saying we are going through this transition, the way we are doing things exactly how you showed here.
mm,
We are expecting system to provide API interface and things like MCP so that we can interface with it.
yes,
But a day can come when AI becomes so intelligent, so good, it don't it actually able to for example, it already can actually use browser.
yes,
So it's you give it a login, you give it page builder, or you give it Sitecore AI access, and it
can do the
fig
developer work, right? You were telling, right? No,
developer marketer work, go
see,
ahead and create
uh,
things for you.
no, that is fine. But the thing here is that suppose the marketer MCP is there. So there is a currently there many gaps are there. So that's why human intervention is required. So currently you can't integrate as marketer MCP with the Azure AI Foundry, right? You can't do that. And if you are using the marketer MCP Figma can do, see, Figma can, from Figma MCP, you can create component, only simple component you can create that. If you need to create a component which is required the personalization, which is required the, you can say that variation, which is required the business logic as per your enterprise system, someone can create the simple component like a UI, but how that UI convert into the dynamic things, right? You required a developer who will again come and use the GitHub Copilot if they are proficient in using that, if they have created an agent for that, right? They need to write a code or they need to write a agent to do that. So from my point of view, always developer is required to do the work, because AI is, you can say that how you have used earlier, right? If you will not say anything, it will do the different things. So still, if you use the Copilot, if you will simply give the one presentation slide itself, screenshot itself, it will go and do the things which you are not expecting, right? So always you
Yeah,
need to train them. But pages editor where there are a lot of things needs to be done. Why? Because you need to pass the context of a user credentials, right? So whole system needs to be changed, which will expect these things. Wherever the normal login ID password is there, these agents can do that. But I haven't seen the agent or a MCP tool which will do the your this how you are using the Microsoft Intra ID and those things, right? So I am not still able to bypass that, as well as how your Google CAPTCHA is treating, right? I am not able to bypass because you need to pass the these API keys and those things, right, to your agent, so that agent can log in on behalf of you. So there are some restrictions
Yeah.
are there still, but but
Yeah, so no, no, I totally understand. But when you think about it, we actually thinking everything from the current state and
Mhm,
current context of the technology,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
But really, if you think about AI is replacing human, I'm not saying that human should not be in loop, and it becomes so intelligent that it can do things that a marketer do. And some of these things happening, like, they are saying that is like, is progressing so fast.
Yes,
Okay. So it can actually, basically, the thing is like, if you give the whole Sitecore code base to Claude,
yes,
okay, and Claude goes through everything and all the user interface and everything. It understands the whole site code.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Uh,
Now it becomes like, my point is like, it can become so intelligent that MCP will not be needed. You do not have to create your specific interface to actually talk to the system. AI itself can talk to the system and do things for you. Obviously, there are
no,
things like
that
governance
you
and
can that you still you can do that. As I was telling, like people are creating use extensively utilizing the Azure AI Foundry, right? So what you need to do, you need to go and create agent, and you are interacting with the tools. Like for example, if you need to use Azure AI Search, that is nothing but a tool for Azure AI Foundry. You are adding Azure AI Foundry, you are adding the uh, Dataverse data or whatever the data sources you require, right? You are just adding the tool, you are creating the agent which is having access to all of the tool because it will be running under your access, right? In your context. So you will just write the steps what they needs to do, and they will go and they can access you. So still, but you required a tool, some sort of a tool which can understand the input and output. So that someone needs to write it. That cannot be created automatically. That someone needs to write it. Misconnector is
yeah.
required, right?
Well, in the yeah, yes and no. Like, you have to actually give something to the AI to
Uh,
actually use the tools like
something,
Foundry or something,
something.
right?
Yes, yes, yes.
But I don't know if you have actually used anti-gravity, a Gemini.
No,
I
that I.
use for I use for like, couple of months. I don't use anymore because I am not very happy with it.
Mm,
So it can actually it can do all the testing for you using browser. So after I actually created the solution
mm,
and basically it wrote the code and everything,
mm,
it launched the browser.
mm,
Every feature that it created, it
mm.
actually went and tested them, and then like it's integrated with the IDE, and it says that everything looks fine. So
Oh, even the .NET code you are
yeah,
telling, or
yeah,
and
basically
Next.js or anything.
it's actually doing the testing job of a functional tester,
Okay.
okay, using the AI.
But
Okay,
you need to
so
say that, right? So, for example, you are having the hero banner. You need to say that. You need to verify these things. This is the acceptance criteria. That you need to tell that, right? Then only it can do
that
that.
I told it like, when I'm creating the hero banner, like,
Okay.
this is my requirement and this is what you
Ah,
are going
that's
to
what I'm
create,
telling. Ah.
right? So based on that, it actually, so my point is like, it is becoming so, like,
Intelligent.
powerful, intelligent. Okay, think about, like, I don't know.
No,
Someday, maybe you will be able to say, like, okay, use your Azure portal account, go log in and
and do
do
everything.
this thing in the Foundry for me.
Yes.
It
See
will
what
just
happened,
go.
it will do. But we have also started, I have seen the people. So because testing team also needs to show the efficiency, right? So they are also creating a tool like that. But we need a people or a BA or a testing team person who will go and create a requirement document, right? Suppose someone is recording, they will create the markdown file because they are proficient, agents are proficient in markdown file, right? So people are creating the markdown file in a one shot. They are not even creating the Azure AI, Azure DevOps stocks. So that markdown file is a source of truth, right? Those will
Mm.
be checked in into the, you can say that the repository, and with the help of that only people are creating the user story or the backlog, and that is also being used to test by the tester. So people started following that because everyone needs to show the efficiency, right? So
Yeah,
people are doing that.
standard is, like, coming up, but I
Yes,
think is lot of is actually in transition, and it is actually happens for every technology.
yes,
Like,
yes.
we are going through the transition, and
See,
basically things will
see,
change.
change,
But
right?
this is where
Blockchain
we
was
are.
there, right? Blockchain was there, right? So nowadays people are not talking about blockchain, right? Earlier,
So
2 years back, blockchain was blockchain, right? So everyone
yeah, I
created
think
a project in
Casey
the block.
Yeah.
Hey, hi.
Casey has a question.
Yeah, so yeah, great presentation. Thank you very much. So yeah, sorry, I just want to jump in a little bit in your
No problem.
conversation. Like I see, how we can leverage MCP clearly.
Mm,
Like for example, imagine we have an enterprise organization, right? And
mm,
for some reason we need a list of our employees, right? We cannot, teach our model with our employees, right? So because it's changing, over the time. In 1 month we have 10 employees, then we hire
yes.
somebody we fire. So we need a kind of API that will retrieve from AD, for example, the list of employees and give it to AI. So that's
Mm,
that's 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 an example for. So
yes.
yeah, I see this MCP is useful, especially in enterprise. Yeah, thank you very much. It was great.
Yeah,
Thanks for joining.
that's MCP is now the way to actually communicate with
Yes.
system. That's the standard way.
Do
Um,
that.
but I think it's going to change a lot in few years.
Yeah,
So
it will be.
yeah, it will be interesting to see what coming up.
Yeah.
But this is great. Thank you. Thanks, Amit.
Thank you everyone for joining.
I
Thanks a
mean,
lot.
by the way, can we connect on the LinkedIn?
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure. You can ping me, LinkedIn or Slack or
Yeah, I
whichever.
just went to your profile and there is no button
Huh?
to
How come?
connect.
No, it
Yeah.
will be there. If you will click on that dot, it will generally be some people will be having that, and then it will come in that.
Okay. I'll try.